Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Steve. This is Defeating Hair Loss. This is Bobby D.
Hey Steve.
Back with me. Thank you for coming,
Yes,
Bobby.
sir. Glad I could help.
And speaking of Bobby D, last week we had Bobby's midterm exam.
Oh yeah, good times.
That video should be out soon, and you should all check it out because it's what Bobby's learned about hair transplants, hair restoration, going bald, preventative treatments. And you did very well.
I try. I learn from the best, Steve.
Congratulations. So now I'm going to hit him hard again.
Goodness.
So we're going to have a new segment of the channel, and it's going to be called Fact or Fiction.
Cool.
And Scout's honor, although I was never a scout, is I do not rehearse these with Bobby. So let's see how you do, Bobby. We're going to fire away with a few of them. Okay, fact or fiction? The scarring from FUT has more scarring than FUE. Is that a fact or fiction?
I would say fact, because it's so long, but...
So it's a little bit of a trick question. There's really no way to answer it. It was a little bit of a setup. So there's different ways, right? So we talk about an FUT scar, which theoretically, okay, as long as that scar doesn't stretch. Now, let's not all get in the weeds here, but when you make that tiny little incision, you're a really good doctor, it's very little scarring. The fact that you can see it if you shave your head down is different than a lot of scarring. So if I had a gun to my head, I would tell you that FUE creates more scarring because you've got a 0.8 or 0.9 punch or whatever the clinic is using, and it's spread out over the entire back of your head, and that could be 2,500 grafts or so. So in essence, if we were forced to figure it out, most likely be FUE, which is very interesting because most people would not. So that was actually what most people would get. But there's really no way that you can be specific. But that's just it's my channel. So what can I say?
Yeah. You make the rules, Steve.
When choosing FUE, patients can wear really short hair and see no scarring. Is that a fact or fiction?
Fiction.
That is fiction, Bobby D.
Got one right.
So the reality is that the internet, and I say the internet, I don't mean to pick on the internet, but the promoting and the marketing of this industry likes to create the sexiest sell it can for FUE. I guess everybody likes the easy way, except of course yours truly for some reason. But FUE is a great procedure, and we talk about it on this channel all the time. We talk about the pros and cons, and we compare it to FUT all the time, and there's pros and cons of each. So the FUE kind of Kool-Aid drinkers out there, and what I mean by that is FUE, FUE, FUE. Everything's great. Everything's great about FUE. There's no downside. FUE is perfect. Everybody should get FUE. The problem with that is they start to go over the top and say you're not going to have any scarring. Now, 15 years ago, when they launched the NeoGraft, they actually advertised no scarring, and that was shut down pretty quickly by the FTC. Then they had to change it to no linear scarring. The reality is that if FUE, it really depends, just like FUT. I think we did a video on this recently, where in the back of your head, depending upon your hair type, your hair color, your skin color, yes, you can see those scars. And yes, you can see them pretty significantly if you cut your hair too short. The only thing I will say and throw a bone in that favor of the Kool-Aid drinkers is that when the eye is looking at the back of the head, if there's a 2,000 or 3,000 polka dots, even though you can clearly see them, the eye can't focus on each individual polka dot. So it almost looks like a shaved head with kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know, some sort of an abnormality of the skin, to say it in a non-medical way. But when you have a specific line back there, that jumps out. So, but you did get that correct? Okay. If you can choose an excellent, experienced surgeon for your FUT scar, I think you did that? Okay. Yeah. That scar should be non-detectable with just a short haircut, and it can't be shaved. So is that a fact or a fiction?
Say fact, because I cut my hair pretty short and...
So yes. So in Bobby's case, so it's actually another loaded question. I'm sorry to do this to you. He's the only one I got here. So the reality is that you got to be very careful. Again, it all depends upon who you are, meaning your hair color, your skin color. Of course, it's your surgeon, but let's just assume it's all one of the best surgeons in the world. His surgeon, Dr. Dan McGrath, is an excellent general surgeon for years before he got into hair surgery and did a great job on Bobby, as he does with all his patients. But that doesn't mean that all his patients are going to show exactly the same scarring in the back, because they could be different races, different genders, and even different ages. They could follow their post-op instructions like Bobby did. They cannot follow their post-op instructions like some people don't. So you answered the question is it'll be an undetectable scar with some short hair. I kind of tricked you with that. Short means what, right?
Yeah,
it varies.
For me, because I just cut this yesterday.
Well, you're a great example of everything going right and doing all the things we just mentioned. But keep in mind that you don't want to take Bobby as an example. You can take Bobby as an example, but you can't hold your doctor specifically accountable. Say, wait a second, I saw this guy in Defeating Hair Loss that had an amazing scar. He basically shaves his head and fades it amazingly, can't see anything. Why can't I do that? You might have a different type of skin. You might have a different, your mom would be from a different part of the world than Bobby's mom or vice versa or whatever. So what we want to plan for is that if we choose the right clinic and right doctor, we will be able to wear our hair short. But how short? Well, now that's the trick. Is it going to be, the old guard, right? 1 guard, 2 guard, 3 guard, 4 guard? You never know. What I'm trying to teach you is don't buy into anybody telling you there's any guarantees about any of that, because we want to make sure that we don't disappoint you. And Bobby is not disappointed with how he wears his hair. All right, last one. This is kind of a tough day, although it's really on me, Bobby. It's not on you. You're doing good. If you could choose an excellent surgeon for your FUT scar, it will always be perfect. It will never flaw, and you will never have to worry about anything with an FUT scar.
Fiction.
Fiction. Ba-bing. So I think you actually got 100. It was my interpretation here of why the first one.
I think I just misunderstood you on the last question.
Yeah, you didn't. Okay. You were good. Results vary. Okay, race, health. This is all stuff. Middle Eastern men, for some reason, we found this. Middle Eastern men from any country over there tend to have a little bit more of a rubbery skin in the back of their head. It's just a little more flexible. So your suture line can be absolutely perfect. All the photography on the day of the procedure, and as you go beyond, the 4-month, 5-month, up to 18 months, the skin can stretch a little bit. That's just how you heal. So we have to keep this in mind, okay? And again, this gives the ammunition for the FUE Kool-Aid drinkers to say, well, why would you even do that? Well, the point is you're going to have scarring from FUE as well. But I just wanted to kind of throw some questions out. You did great. Thank you so much.
I did better on the midterm exam.
You did great on the midterm exam.
So y'all can check that one out.
We're going to talk more about scarring. We're going to keep this information and contact coming. Bobby, thank you for your help. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe.